In terms of actual actionable advice, I found that the hardest part was really making a CV that stands out and getting through the door. I thought that, I have things to offer, and this has been my interest, and yeah, sure, companies are going to love hiring me, and I guess a lot of people feel this, but then most CVs actually don't make it through the door. You don't actually even get the opportunity to present yourself and present your case if your CV doesn't get through the door. And so if you look online and type CV template or something on Google, it'll give you this template with a picture and like a description, and it's a wrong CV. It's not the standard CV that actually succeeds. I guess for students that are from backgrounds that maybe, you're in a non-target university and you don't have an investment society on campus helping you and giving you a template, what does a good CV look like, and what does a good cover letter look like, and are cover letters even necessary? Like, how do you get your foot in the door?
Yes, so CVs, it's unfortunate. I get that, because I had the same CV, like a nice rosy CV with like my picture over there, a very long description on like what I do, and like, how like I play tennis, and that makes me a great candidate for your role, and like all that stuff, right? And it makes sense, because at the end of the day, your CV needs to be a representation of yourself, and you are so much more than just that internship at that company. So I get that, but what I've noticed recently is that for CVs, like, they do have to follow a particular format, I think purely because there are so many applicants for the same role, and it just gives the person reviewing your CV a template to look at, and like it makes it easier to compare between different people, because they can be like, oh yeah, how do they differ in terms of education, how do they differ in terms of work experience, how do they differ in terms of volunteering experience. And we also have to realize that there are so many applicants nowadays, right? And like a lot of people who review the CVs might also have other things. So like, for example, if like a consultant's taking time away, like along with their project is reviewing your CV, they want to see things to the point. So a few tips for that are, keep it to one page. Like in consulting, like it's like, do not go over one page. That's the golden rule. Secondly, it just helps to like take away all the extra stuff out of your CV, and like keep it down to like 3 key sections, like education, work experience, and positions of responsibility. That's how I structured my CV. And within that, like, highlight the most relevant experiences, because it's not a competition of who's done the most, right? Like, because if it's not relevant, then it doesn't matter if you've done 50 things, but they won't help you in the role that you're applying for. So select probably like in total across work and positions of responsibility 5 to 6 experiences which are relevant to the job. So I removed a couple of internships and a couple of positions of responsibility, because I thought that they weren't adding as much value to my story as the rest were. And within each experience as well, like, keep it to the point. And like some tips on that are to quantify everything you do, because say you in one of your projects, you say you improved the operating model of a company that led to significant cost savings. That's a cool thing to do, right? But if you say did an operating model project and improved costs by 17%, that makes it so much more tangible, and that makes you stand out, because it gives a benchmark of like the impact that you've done. And I think that firms really like to see that, because it just gives a lot more credibility as well to what you've done, and it shows that what you do can have a real world impact. So I think that's one thing that's very important. And secondly, it should be about what you did rather than what the project was. So saying you worked on an operating model project is a good thing, like you should say that, but you should list down what you did, because at the end of the day, what firms are looking for is not the fact that you worked on all these things. It's that you've done certain tasks that give you the skills required for you to be employable in whatever role that they're searching for. So in an operating model project, say you did a lot of data analysis and financial modeling, so you would write it in terms of that gathered data requirements, reached out to client stakeholders to get a lot of data, and analyzed it and built a detailed financial model as part of an operating model project that led to like 17% cost savings for the company. That just really tells them what you did, what skills you've gained, and that makes your story a lot more credible when you're applying for jobs, because at that point you can tell what you are doing. So that would be my advice for the CV. But also, like, it's not like, I understand that it takes a little bit of life out of the CV, but I do think that it's important to show them who you are. So I still have a section on like my interests and stuff, where like, so I used to play like national level tennis when I was younger. So I have that element in my CV to kind of just show that, you know what, like, along with all of this, I do something else which is cool and which has made me the person I am today, and I think it's important to show. So that's CVs. For cover letters, are they important? To be honest, I don't know. Like, I have no idea, but wherever they gave me an option to add a cover letter, I did add a cover letter, purely because it's your one shot without an interview to explain to the firm why you are a good fit and why you want that firm. And I think that's an important message to communicate, especially when they say review 10,000 applications for like 5 positions, right? And it's very easy to just upload your CV and send in an application and that's it. But why should they select you to interview them when they don't even know that you know them as a company, or you're just seeing that, oh, I like asset management, this is an asset manager, blind apply. So which is why I do think it's important to write cover letters. And but yeah, like, keep it short, right? Like, they have things to do. They're not going to read a whole essay behind why you're a good fit. So figure out what are the 3 key points on like what you value you can bring to the company. So actually, the way I would structure a cover letter is in 3 sections, like why you're interested in the industry in particular, why should they hire you, and why you want to work for that firm in particular within this industry. So that's the way I structure my cover letters. And like, it doesn't have to be too long, like in total probably 500 words, 600 words if you're stretching it, but like not longer than that for sure. And very structured in the sense that why you want to work in, say, investment banking, 3 reasons. Why you think you are a good fit, 3 reasons. Why do you want to work for a particular company, say JP Morgan, 3 reasons. And that's it. And that's your cover letter. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't have to be the best essay ever written. It just has to convey the main point and in as short words as possible.